student, there has always been a question whether the Muslim law is a complete codified law or not. So we always say that Muslim law is not a codified law. It is based on the Sharia law. But yes, there are some parts, some particular subjects on which some kind of legislation has been made. So what I am going to discuss with you today, that what are the important legislation in Muslim laws which are important for you for examination purpose. So let's see what are the important legislation which are based on the Muslim law and which are the part of the Muslim law and applied to the Muslim. Let's see what are they. So first of all, when I would discuss about the legislation, so there are some piecemeal of legislation. If I would take one example, then we can take the example earlier to the, it means to say pre-independence period. When we talk about pre-independence period, the first step taken by the British government to make legislation for Muslim law was, that is Sharia law. Means the full name is Muslim Personal Law Sharia Application Act of 1937. This is actually the law which is having 6 sections, including with who are actually the person, कौन वो लोग होंगे जिन पर शरिया लॉ अप्लाई होगा. सो टू मेक दिस काइंड ऑफ क्लैरिटी that these are the people to whom the Muslim law will be applied, there was a piecemeal first step law, that was Sharia law. It is having, total 6 sections, but 2 sections are very important for Sharia law, that is I am mentioning. One, that is section 2, another, that is section 3. So there I am taking section 2 of Sharia law, and then we are taking section 3 of Sharia law. What section 2 talks about? Section 2 of Sharia Act of 37 talks about who are the person to whom this Muslim law, Muslim Sharia law will apply. Actually, the word Muslim has been defined so that there should be a clarity that who are the person to whom this word is to be applied. Another important section is section 3. Suppose if any particular person wants to make a declaration that he being a Muslim and he wants that the law related to the Sharia should be applied to that person, then whether this person is empowered, is having the right to make that declaration? The answer is yes. Because any particular person can make a declaration to a particular authority that he wants to be treated as a Muslim and the Sharia law to be applied. So there are basically 2 sections of the Sharia Act of 37 which talks about that the application. Now I would say one more important law which is also a pre-independence period, that is of Act of 1939. Remember student, under the Muslim law there are various grounds are given for divorce, which is literally said to be talaq. But when we go through the the talaq provisions, we find that the provision of talaq are just unilateral in nature. Means husband is given lots of power to pronounce the talaq and the divorce, but the women is given very limited powers. Means to say there are just 2 grounds on which the women can claim the divorce, which is also based on the discretion of that particular husband. Now this progressive legislation has been made in the year of 1939 through the Britishers, that the Muslim women should also be given some more powers to claim divorce. So mainly when we discuss about this act which talks about the dissolution of Muslim Marriage Act 1939, it talks about dissolution of Muslim marriage. Dissolution means divorce, and you can say the word talaq. So there are grounds are given in which the women, especially when I am talking women, because there is some kind of confusion that the Act of 1939 gives the power to the husband, gives the power to the wife, but the answer would be that only the women is given the power to claim divorce under this law, because man is already given a lots of power under the Muslim law. So which section is important of the Act of 1939? Student, always remember there is one very important section, that is section 2 of this law. Section 2 of the Act of 1939 talks about the list of the grounds on which the wife can claim divorce. So these are the important, you can say that it is a welcomed step of the British government that the women was given the power to claim divorce. Section 2 is very important for that. When we talk about section 1939 Acts, there are total 6 sections are given. टोटल 6 सेक्शंस, तो बहुत स्मॉल पीस ऑफ लेजिस्लेशन है, बहुत लिमिटेड सेक्शंस है, नॉट अ ह्यूज लिस्ट ऑफ सेक्शंस टू बी फॉलोड, just 6 sections. Now I'm saying about after independence we are having the first important legislation I'm talking about, that is the Act of 1986. The complete name of this law is the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce 1986. Whenever a husband gives the divorce to the women, whether the woman is having any kind of right to claim maintenance, the answer is yes. But the law in this point is Act of 1986. Remember student, earlier to this law, Muslim law simply says that the women can claim maintenance during the iddat period, which is simply for divorce is 3 months. When we are talking about that, it is 4 months 10 days, but in case of divorce, it is just 3 months. So the provision for the maintenance is just during the iddat period. But after an important Supreme Court judgment, I'm referring here this judgment, that is Shah Banu judgment. Shah Banu judgment of 1985 has given the very progressive judgment in which the women was given the right to maintenance even after the period of iddat, which has become the matter of hue and cry in whole society in India. And then the government has passed the legislation addressing that we are not going to encroach within the ambit of Muslim personal laws. So this law was introduced basically to read down, to nullify the judgment of Shah Banu. Now, this law talks about two important sections, and I am referring one, that is section 3, other that is section 4. इस लॉ को अगर मैं बात करूं, so there are two sections, section 3 as well as section 4. Section 3 is important because under section 3 of this Act of 1986, the women is given the right to get maintenance plus the other provisions for the right. Then these were given under section 3, but it was clearly mentioned that during the iddat period, not after that. Now when we come to section 4, it talks about some other kinds of provision, means how the order of maintenance is to be passed, who will pass the order, what will be the amount, what are the important criteria to be decided in this matter. Now I would go for another important important judgment of Shah Banu after that. After this Act of 1986, the Supreme Court has given the important judgment of Daniel Latifi, in which Supreme Court clearly read down this law of 1986 and said that the women is empowered to get the maintenance even after the iddat period. So that was all I am referring here. This Act of 1986 is also a very small piece of legislation having 7 sections. Now I would talk about another important concept of waqf. As I said to you, the whole Muslim law does not, the small pieces of the legislation does not cover complete Muslim law. Now we are having important concept of waqf. The property related to the waqf, when we are dealing with, there are 2 laws has been passed, 2 laws related to the waqf. One law which was introduced during the British period, that was Mussalman Waqf Act, validating Act of 1913, and this law was related to the waqf. But after independence in the year of 1995, we have properly drafted the law related to the waqf. It is completely a proper law which is having 113 sections. So there are total 113 sections, and it is the specialty of this law that it not just talks about waqf, private waqf as well as other waqf. So the concept of waqful aulad is also given the recognition. Now another important judgment by which I am going to say that it would be the last one legislative step by the parliament, which was Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage. Remember student, the Act of 1986 talks about Muslim women's protection of rights on divorce, but this law talks about protection of rights on marriage. So this law has been passed after the important judicial precedent, and the name of the judgment was, that is Shaira Banu versus Union of India 2017. In this judgment, Supreme Court has clearly declared that the concept of triple talaq is unconstitutional. It actually violates Article 14 and Article 21 of the Constitution of India. Now, to give the recognition to this judgment, the Parliament has taken firstly through ordinance and then finally through the law that Muslim Women's Protection of Rights of 2019. So this law is also the very progressive law. It talks about total 8 sections. One section, that is section 3. Section 3 is why important? Because section 3 of this Act of 2019 clearly says that triple talaq is completely void. It is having no effect at all. This is one thing. While we dealing with another important section of this law, which is section 4. Section 4 of this law talks about the punishment. If any husband has given the divorce in nature of triple talaq to the wife, then this would be an offense and that person will be subjected to the punishment. This was all which I was discussing about. So these are the important legislation which are dealing with the Muslim personal laws. This was all. If you want to go through, these are very small piece of legislation that can be covered with taking not lot of much efforts, with having 6 or 5 or 7 sections. There is one exception only, that is Waqf Act of 1995. Okay, so that's what all. Thanks for watching this.